this is where things get a little crazy. This is when you're going to have problems where it's not going to just kind of work out real nice and easy for you. And the first thing that they can do is they can give you mass instead of moles. So think about this, PV equals nRT, right? And we said that N is moles. Well, if they give you mass is in grams, what do you have to do to those grams before you can plug them into that equation? Yeah, exactly. You have to convert them to moles. So we have to do a mole conversion in some of these, okay? So A says, if you're ever told to use the ideal gas law and you're given mass instead of the number of moles, you must first convert the mass to moles. PV equals nRT. So it says use the ideal gas law, and that's this, to find the pressure. All right, so we're still looking for P when 14.5 grams of nitrogen, all right, nitrogen's a gas, occupies a volume of this, wait a sec, that's milliliters, and then Celsius. Oh boy. Okay, so P needs to be an ATM. Luckily, we're looking for that, so we don't need to do anything. Volume needs to be in liters. You might ask yourself, how do you know volume has to be in liters and P has to be in ATM? I'm glad you asked. It's because if you go here, what are the units, right? That's how you know. Your R tells you what the units are for everything. So volume has to be liters. ATM has to be for the pressure. And then the N is moles, right? So this has to be moles. And T is temperature. But what unit? Kelvin. So now we know what everything has to be. Now we have to go through this problem and convert everything that's not what it needs to be. The first step is the 14.5 grams of nitrogen gas. Now, nitrogen gas is one of the Hinkelbroughs, right? So it's N2. So don't forget that. We need to put what on the bottom? Yep, grams, N2. And then if you look at your periodic table, you'll see that each nitrogen is 14.01 times 2. I know you guys are having flashbacks to earlier chapters. It's exciting. So we get our molecular mass is 28.02 grams, and then you get 1 mole of N2 on top. All right, when you do the math for that, you'll end up with 0.517 moles. Okay, that's the first one. The next thing we have is the volume, right? So volume has to be in liters, but unfortunately, it's not in liters, it is in milliliters. So 101 milliliters, 1,000 milliliters on the bottom. It's 1 liter on the top. When you do this one, it is 0.101 liters. All right, so we got that. Great. Last up, this temperature one, which we're pretty used to now. 25 plus 273 is going to give us 298 Kelvin. Okay, so now we have PV equals nRT, right? So we have our equation, PV equals nRT. We don't know the pressure. That's what we're looking for. We know the volume. The volume is the liters. We know N, right? That's the number of moles. And we know R because that's always the constant. And then we have T, the temperature. That's always going to be this, Kelvin. All right, so let's plug everything in. So P, V is 0.101 liters, equals N is 0.517 moles. R we know, 0.0821 ATM liters over K moles. And then the temperature is going to be 298 298. Oop, 298. I must be thinking about something like lunch. I don't know. 298 Kelvin. Okay. Now this is actually ending up to be just like the other problem, right? The problem that we did last time. So let's change the color. Let's divide by the volume on both sides. All right, we're dividing by the volume on each side. This cancels out, this cancels out. All right, now we're going to go through and cancel out all the units. So I'm going to change the color again. So let's go to liters. All right, there's liters up at the top right. There's liters at the bottom, so that cancels out. You have moles, right? Moles are here, and then moles are on the bottom down here. So that cancels out. And then we have Kelvin and Kelvin. All right, so we're left with ATM. All right. Now for this one, you multiply. So it's 0.517 times the 0.821 times the 298. Hit enter, hit the divide button, type in the 0.101, hit enter, and that'll give you your answer in ATM. Round it to 3 sig figs, you get 125 ATM. All right, and there you go. We did it.